So hi guys, welcome to this video. Today this is kind of a basic video and we are going to understand and see some basic things about preparing your server, either it is Zimbra server, whatever server it is, regardless of your platform. This video is going to help you to understand how to make your server more efficient and how to optimize the setup. So in this case, we're using a Zimbra server. Let me show you my screen. This is my screen. I have already set up a Zimbra server. So Zimbra, okay, ZM control -v version. By the way, let me tell you that this is the open source edition of Zimbra, and the open source edition of Zimbra will be end of life at the end of this year, 31st December 2023. So I would recommend you to migrate your server from Zimbra to any other platform as per your preferences. But if you want to though if you decided to migrate from open source to any paid edition like G Suite or Microsoft 365, that's okay. It's definitely up to you. But if you want to migrate your server from this open source to another open source, then I would definitely recommend you to try Carbonio Community Edition that is produced by Jextras, and now it is being tried by many institutions and organizations. I'm not fully convincing you to try it. I'm just asking you to give it a shot, check by yourself all the features and everything, and then you can decide. So nothing else. By the way, let's focus on our server. So this is our server, ZM control. By the way, I will give you the link, all the relevant links that I talk now, and also I'm going to show you in the upcoming part of this video. So yeah, please bear with me. ZM control status. Let's see the status of our server. Okay, everything is running. Okay, fine. So if everything is running, let me check the IP address of my server. The IP address of my server is 185.213.27.93. So after setting the server, the very first thing when you are making this server live or making this server active, what is the very first thing you have to do? You need to modify the DNS records. Otherwise, this server will not be accessible via any web link or any web address. So in this video, we are going to see how we can set up all the DNS records in a proper way and check whether they pass other platforms standard or not. So let me keep this aside. Let me open my and one more thing, the domain I have used here is this one, So if I ping it this, it means it didn't find any host. My computer didn't find any host named mail.sampleserver.xyz. That clearly indicates that no DNS record is published again mail.sampleserver.xyz. So therefore, if any of your user is not within your network or outside of your network or even within your within in your network, they cannot access the server using the host name. They have to access the server using the IP address. So let's not make things complex. Let's go one by one. The very first thing that we are going to do is modify the DNS records. But the question is, Rita, but the question is how we can do that and where should we update those DNS records. I thought I would create a separate video on it, but as it is relevant here, I will explain how and where should we update our DNS records. So now I am using this sample server.xyz. Many of my fellow system admins ask me that, okay, I am managing a company's email service. They have their server. Now I need to publish a particular DNS record. Where should I publish? How can I find that where should I publish the DNS record? So the relation is I purchase this domain sample server.xyz from Namecheap, and let me show you so that you can understand. Accounts, sign in. I need to provide the code. Okay, just bear with me. It will help you to clear out your concept about this. So just bear with me. By the way, my videos are so unconventional. I do not do any kind of editing or any kind of enhancing the video, enhancement in the video. I just shoot it in a raw format. I explain things. I provide the information that I think is necessary. So yeah, that's it. So okay, Namecheap. Okay. Okay, so I entered Namecheap. In the Namecheap, I purchased this domain. I purchased some other domains too. So let's talk about this sample server.xyz. When I purchased this, Namecheap provided me this dashboard, and within this dashboard, I can manage properties of this domain. Let's check what are the properties. Go to the manage, and here you can see many informations like what name server I want to use. Now there are Cloudflare name server, but I can use Namecheap basic DNS, or I can use any custom DNS, whatever it is. So from terminal, you are managing a domain, you are managing an email server, but you don't know where to publish the DNS record. Always find the name server of that domain. Like for this server, for this domain, the name server is Cloudflare, is hosted at Cloudflare. Let me check it from the command line interface. For that, NSLOOKUP kind of a very good tool to check all of this server. I am setting the server to global server. That means now whatever query I post here, I will get the reply from the server of Google. But if I change this like server 1.1.1.1, now whatever query I post here, I will get the query from server 1111. So this is how you can change the server address and make a query, so that you can understand whether the published DNA is propagated or propagating or not. So okay, let's get back to the Google DNS. Okay, now from Google, I don't know anything about sample server.xyz. From Google, I want to know sample server.xyz. I am setting a query, set q equals to ns, and I am writing sample server.xyz. As you can see, it is showing me that sample server xyz has two name servers, and they are mac.ns.cloudflare.com and diana.ns.cloudflare.com. As these two are added in the domain portal, mind it, there are several terms that are very confusing, like domain portal, hosting portal, and some other things. So domain portal is the portal what you get after purchasing a domain. It is simply a portal where you put your basic information, so that whenever someone searches your domain in Wiz or using any other tool, they will get the registrar, registrant, expiry date, and all the other information, all the basic information from your domain portal. But from technical aspect, there is one thing that they can find using Wiz or any other thing, is that what name server you are using in your domain portal. So right now I am using Cloudflare name servers in my domain portal. So that means when I have inputted Cloudflare name servers in my domain portal, all the future DNS records should be entered into these two name servers. Otherwise, those DNS records will not function properly. It is incorrect. Those DNS records will not function at all. Let me tell you why. So, for an example, one of your foreign client is trying to email you at your address like admin@sampleserver.xyz. He drafts the mail, send the mail. When his server is trying to find out where to forward that mail, the remote server will look up that, okay, I need to forward this mail to sampleserver.xyz. So where should I forward? And where should I get all the information, by the way? Then he will make a query. Who is responsible for keep the track of all DNS records? That is his name server. Every server's name server I mean, every domain's name server is responsible to keep track of all the DNS records. So all the DNS records related to sample server.xyz will be entered either directly or indirectly to this Cloudflare address. I mean directly or indirectly, that means for Cloudflare I can directly add them into the Cloudflare portal. But in some cases you may get a cPanel portal where you can input your DNS records, and that cPanel is also linked to the base DNS server. So your the record you added in your cPanel will be propagated to the DNS base DNS server, then it will be propagated up to the top level DNS servers. So this is the thing. So in short, your name server is responsible to keep track of all DNS records. So now our domain sample server.xyz has name server of Cloudflare. So Cloudflare, I need to add all the DNS records to the Cloudflare. Okay, fine. Let's keep it aside. If I now let's check one more thing. HTTPS mail dot sample server dot xyz. That is my server address, right? So that is my server address, but I'm not able to get the web page because whenever I am writing this server address in my computer is unable to resolve the IP address related to this host name. So the very first thing that I need to do is add a record so that whoever searches mail.sampleserver.xyz can find my server. For that, as I said, my domain's name server is on Cloudflare, so I need to add DNS records into Cloudflare portal. Let's go to the Cloudflare portal. Okay, so in Cloudflare portal there are some other servers, other domains, so let's not worry about it. We are going into the sample server.xyz. In DNS settings, the first thing I want to do is add a record so that others find my server. We'll save. By adding this a record, I said whenever someone search mail.sampleserver.xyz, he should get the response of this IP address and their request should come to this IP address. Let's take a look at this one. It is still not resolving because it needs some time to propagate the DNS changes all over the world. So it will take some time. We have to wait. By the way, meanwhile, let me tell you that there are some DNS propagation checker. DNS propagation checker. So whenever you are updating any DNS, you can check its propagation so that you can understand the progress. Okay, searching. As it says right now, the propagation progress is 0. It is not propagated yet. Okay, let me check one more thing. Sample server.xyz, edit, name mail, a record, auto, save. Okay, everything is in order. So let me flash my DNS. IP config plus DNS. Now again, okay. So we have to wait until the DNS is propagated. Let's check again here. Okay, it is still not propagated, so we have to wait. That is the hassle of updating, adding, or modifying a DNS record. So definitely you should update, add, or modify DNS record in a feasible time, like during weekend, so that within the weekend period your DNS updates properly. So as soon as the weekdays starts, your users will be able to find everything is okay. Now maybe no, not this is okay. Okay, let's wait. Main 192.1.3 27.93 27.93. Okay, so by the way, let me tell you, some users or some others may ask you, what is the recommended time or what is the required time of a proper DNS propagation? It is said that it's up to 24 hours to 72 hours to propagate the modified DNS record all over the world. So it's 24 to 72 hours. But it's not necessary that you are going to need 72 hours. Within 72 hours, it will reach the farthest corner of the earth, but mostly within 24 hours or even within 6 hours or 12 hours the DNS will be updated in most of the part of the world. So this is it, and let's check on the server. Search. As you can see, we're still not getting anything. Now let me show you something interesting. Remember I told you about NS lookup. So right now my NS lookup has set this address as a default. So if I made a query right now, set q equals to a set q equals to a mail dot sample server dot xyz. It was also not been able to find any DNS record. Okay, let's make the server the Cloudflare server. As I have entered the DNS record on Cloudflare server, at least they should be able to tell me or reply back me the DNS record, right? I hope you are understanding the concept. So now I'm using, for an example, this server. So I have set this server. So now whatever query I will enter here, I will get the reply from this server. So set q equals to a mail dot sample server dot xyz. So it says it is not been able to find it anything. Okay, let's check DNS proxy TTL auto mail dot sample server dot xyz. Sometimes you have to put the whole host name there. Let's not do this DNS proxy thing. Save sample server dot xyz. Okay. So as you can see that my videos are kind of a hands-on. I do things in real time. I do not script them. I just select the topic. I try to show you in a hands-on manner so that you can understand what kind of difficulty and challenge you can face during your operation. So imagine you are a system admin and you are doing this. So you may be worried that what's happening. I have entered the proper DNS records, I have added the record, but it's still not showing. Why? So let's wait a bit. For that, you can remember that this is 10:07, and let's see how much it takes. I'm gonna pause the video, and as soon as the record appears, I will again start the video. So sometimes Opera does this weird thing. Mail dot sample server dot xyz. By the way, this video is going to be kind of long. From now I am going to fast forward everything so that you can understand and not get bored. Okay, so our A record is published. Now another piece of record that is important, similar to A record, that is PTR record, or some others say it as reverse DNS. So how should we look into it? If we look into our DNS portal, there is only one record, that is A record. But if you do not have this portal or the access of this portal, then how would you check that whether you have any reverse DNS record or any PTR record or not? Any guess? Exactly. The NS lookup tool. NS lookup tool is your best friend for DNS troubleshooting and image related issue. So okay, NS lookup. I'm again setting server 8.8.8 For NS lookup, I am going to use this address and check whether this address resolves the actual hostname or not. But what it shows that something else. Actually, this is the actual physical server name. I got the server from this provider and they have encoded this name in the server, therefore I am getting it. But I need to change this. So now the question will be, so should I put a PTR record or reverse DNS record here? Though it has a PTR record. No. Always remember the PTR record for any domain should be given at the provider end. Provider end means whoever provides you the server and the IP address, they are responsible to publish the PTR record. So I got the server from a provider named Contabo. So they should help me to publish the PTR record. So let's go to the Contabo. So this is my Contabo VPS control. There are some VPSs. Let me show you. These are some VPSs. Reverse DNS management. Here you can see against this IP, the PTR record is this one. But I want against this IP address, PTR record should be this one. This is for a test purposes. So I need to change this one. Save. Okay. So now my IP resolves back to this one. If I go here and check again the IP address, it still shows the previous name because it will take some time. Now, meanwhile, let me tell you something why the PTR record is needed. We understood that why a record is needed. A record is needed because we need to access the web page using the URL. We cannot remember the IP address, or any non-technical user cannot remember the IP address. They need to know the URL so that they can enter it in their browser and access the graphical user interface for their webmail. But what about PTR record? What is the use of this PTR record? The PTR record is for kind of security purposes. So imagine when your server is sending mail to another server, what happens? Your server establishes a connection to another server or a remote server. They exchange greetings. During the exchange of the greetings, the remote server at first see the IP address. Okay, the IP address is 27.93. To be for sure that whether it is exchanging the greetings with the correct one and the greetings he received from my server matches, he then runs a reverse DNS checkup that okay, I got a greetings from mail.sampleserver.xyz, but the IP connected to my server, or the IP connect establish a connection to my server is this one. So do they match? For that they run a reverse DNS lookup or PTS record, a PTR record. So what if I do not publish my PTR record? or do not publish it properly. In that case, the most frequently faced issue is your server may not be able to establish a connection with the remote end server. That is the most common consequence, nothing else. I have seen many servers who do not publish their PTR record and do not have any PTR record, but still they are functioning because frankly saying, in the world, many of the servers and many of renowned company servers do not have all DNS records published properly, but still they are functioning. That is the way. But you should know what is the proper way and how you can set them. So, yeah, I set the PTR record. Let me remove them. Let me remove them. Let me remove them. Okay. Okay. Let me remove this one. Save. Test. It's not a valid DNS record. Okay, it is not a valid DNS record. Let me do it something else. Old server dot xyz. Okay, so let's check whether our PTR record is published or not, and it is still not published, so we need to wait. By the way, we saw that how we can use NSLOOKUP to find the propagated or published DNS record. There are some online based graphical tool also that can help you to find the DNS record in an easier way. So let me show you. One of them is MX Toolbox. In MX Toolbox, if you go to this page, go to all tools. There are lots of options. I want to use this A record lookup tool. Go here for A record lookup tool. Let me type mail.sample server.xyz. As you can see, it shows it has the A record of this one. So it is another proof that my A record is published properly. Now go back to another, that we recently published the PTR, though it is not visible yet in the NSLOOKUP, but let's check it from here also. If we copy this, yeah, it shows the PTR record is published. So let's check at the NSLOOKUP. No, NSLOOKUP is still showing the previous address. So let me do a quick ipconfig flash. Hope it resolves. Server iterate set key equals to PTR, then the IP. It is still showing that, but the point is, it is about the propagation. So the server the current server that the MX Toolbox is using is ns3contabo.net. So as I entered the PTR record in contabo.net, when it made a query from that server about this PTR record, contabo.net immediately provided the result, whereas the other servers are taking time. So it will take some more time to show the actual PTR record. So I'm not going to rely entirely on this MX Toolbox. I will also try to check the verify with the NS lookup. Let me get you the reason behind it. You may say, okay, I can see the PTR record in the MX Toolbox. MX Toolbox is one of the global tool to see the DNS records. Why shouldn't I rely on this? Because you should not rely on any particular tool to verify your DNS record. If you check your DNS record in multiple tools and you got the same result, then you can rely or you can understand that okay, my DNS is propagated properly and all over the world. But this scenario means my DNS is propagated partially, therefore it can be found in the MX toolbox but not in the NS lookup. So we need to wait some time. Let's pause this video and I will get back to you soon again. Deliver the mail. That is the MX record. So whenever I send a mail to someone else to some domain, my server will figure out the name server. Then from within the name server, it will figure out the MX record. And after figuring out the MX record, it will deliver the mail to that MX record. So that MX record can be the server itself. That means the server itself receives the emails. But on the other hand, that the MX record can be an external gateway like email security gateway. So whenever a domain has a email security gateway as an MX record, so all the incoming emails are coming into that email security gateway, then it pass to the server after the scanning. So okay, let's go to our DNS portal and publish the NS record. Okay, what is this? Okay, it's add. From here we'll select the type MX, name, mail dot sample. Okay, I can only insert mail, and mail server is the domain. Sample server, that is the mail dot sample server dot xyz, and in the name there will be the server, sample server dot xyz. So on the top of this field it says mail.sampleserver.xyz handles mail for sampleserver.xyz. This is exactly what I want. So whoever sends mail to sampleserver.xyz, it should be forwarded to mail.sampleserver.xyz. And furthermore, the sample server mail.sampleserver.xyz should be translated into the server IP address, that is this one. and after the successful translation, that remote server should connect to this server and deliver the email. So this is the basic routing as well as basic functionality of MX record. Let's add this. Okay, let's check whether our PTR is published or not. No, it is still not published, but let's check whether MX is published or not. Address set q equals to MX sample server dot xyz. Keep one thing in your mind, that MX record is always published again the domain. Yeah, you can see it is updated almost immediately. By the way, your MX server can be multiple. In that case, you should set the preferences. The lower the preferences, the higher their priority. Like Google has multiple MX records. Let me show you. Google.com. Not Google doesn't use it anymore. Gmail.com. As you can see, gmail.com has 5 MX records with different preferences. So this one has the higher priority. If this fails, then this got active and so on. So now our server has an MX record. Therefore, if I send a mail, it should come to my server, right? Let's check. Gmail. Let's type a server and let's type a new address, that is admin. I'm writing to the admin at the rate sample server.xyz. Test mail, subject is test, incoming, then test, send. Let's go to our server, which is here, admin 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, I still cannot see the email here. Did I put all the address properly? Admin at the rate sample server.xyz. Okay, let's see our mail log. Tail f var log Zimbra log. There are so many things. Let's refresh it one time. No, still there is nothing. Is there anything in the top? Warning, auth, envelope. So nothing yet. Let's send another mail. Admin sample server incoming test2 test2. The log says, yeah, domain not found. Okay, let's dig down this. That means I received a mail from Gmail from here, but it says the domain not found. That is quite interesting. Domain not found means, let's see whether my vi etc resolve.conf. Okay, let's change the name server. Rated 8. So Zimbra. Let's see my mail queue. Yeah, there are many mails that are here from my Gmail account also, that are waiting in the mail queue because the server was not been able to resolve anything. As I have fixed the DNS record, not DNS record, the DNS server in the resolve.com, now everything should be okay. But as all the mails are hold, I need to requeue them. To requeue them, what I am going to do is going to flush them. So what I'm going to do, postfix flush. As soon as I do this, let's go to the mail queue. Okay, let's go here. It is getting mail, and as you can see, this is the mail it received. So my incoming is okay. Though there are some mails, this is the first mail that I still didn't receive. So we need to dig down and find out what is happening. So that's for another day, so that you can understand. Okay, that is cleared, that is even cleared, so you can understand that how MX record is working. So this is the first one, test, and this is the second one. So with the MX record, my incoming became okay. Let's see whether the PTR record is ZQ PTR. Oh no, it is still showing that server address. Okay, now my incoming is okay. Now I want to do an outgoing. Let's send an outgoing mail. imsilsa26112@gmail.com. Test outgoing test. Let me open this one. Okay, if I hit send, as you can see it. Okay, let's pause this record, this log. It says I sent the mail to gmail.com, status bounce. Host gmail.com said our system detected that this message is likely unsolicited. To reduce the amount of spam sent to Gmail, this message has been blocked. Please visit this. So in this case, two things can be happened. There might be two reasons. One, if that particular IP address that I am using, maybe it is used by someone else earlier and they had spamming problem, and due to huge spamming problem, their IP, means this IP has been blocked by Gmail. By the way, if it is blocked, then it may take some time to unblock it. And the second thing is, all the necessary and recommended DNS records mentioned by Gmail are not published yet. What are those? PTR, DKIM, and DMARC. So we have published the PTR, but it is not showing till now. So let's not wait. Let's publish the DKIM record. So for the DKIM record, what we are going to do is opt Zimbra livex zm DKIM tool -add -d sample server dot xyz. So I have added the DKIM key here. Now I am doing a query so that I can write them down, and my terminal emulator is not responding well. Okay, I'm making the query. So this is the DKIM key. Now what I'm going to do is I'm again going to the Cloudflare portal, add a record. This record will be a TXT record where the name will be the DKIM key. The domain key, that is this one, from the beginning to the domain key. Okay, so from the beginning to the domain key, I put it here. Then I select this version DKIM1 KRSA. I copy them, put it here, space, then I copy them, this till this QAB. So just remove these additional things. Remove these additional things. Okay, so now save. The DKIM record is published. So now we want to check the DKIM record also. About checking the DKIM record, there is an interesting fact. To check the DKIM record, it's not like the A record or the PTA record that you just put the IP address or the host name and you find the DKIM record. To find the DKIM record, you need the selector. Let's go to the MX toolbox, all tools, here DKIM record. Go to here. This is the domain key. This is the selector, and the domain name is sampleserver.xyz. DKIM lookup. So it is not published yet. Oh, there is one thing. There is an extra dot. I should remove it. So beware of these small facts that can affect your diagnosis and can lead you to a wrong direction. So after removing that, it shows the DKIM record is published properly and everything is okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to publish a DMARC record. For DMARC record, this is the same. I'm going to publish a TXT record. And TXT record. Then what I'm going to do is there are several interesting websites where you can find lots of details about DKIM and DMARC. I will give you the link in the description. So the thing is, for the name sample and the name would be underscore DMARC dot sample server dot xyz. So it says underscore DMARC dot sample server dot xyz has a record with content. Now the content will be at first the version DMARC 1 colon, then P, the policy. What will be the policy? There are three types of policy: none, quarantine, reject. So for the safety, we are going to use quarantine, QUARANTINE, quarantine. So this is the quarantine. Now what we are going to do, we are going to add the address where we should get the forensic report as well as the overall domain performance report that is stated as RUA and RUF. So RUA equals to mail to DMARC @ sample server dot xyz. And everything will be separated by semicolon. RUA then RUF equals to mail to DMARC @ sample server dot xyz. Then these are the addresses where DMARC's reports will be provided. By the way, you can also use different domains email address like your Gmail address or any other address into this address. In that case, you need to do some extra modification. I am not going into that part because that will create some complexity. I will create another short video explaining that. So after that is F01. What F0 means? F0 means the failure reporting. So whether I want a failure reporting or not, so I want a failure reporting, that's why I set it to 1. Then there are percentage and SP. Percentage equals to like 80 or 100. That means whenever a recipient server receives mail from my domain, on how many emails he should validate the records, how many mails. If he finds 80% of your mails are complying with the DMARC record, then it's okay. But if it is not meet the 80% criteria, then it will report. So this is the one. Then we have another tag that we can add, that is SP none. So what does SP means? SP means subdomain policy. So as I have no subdomain, so I am setting this subdomain policy as none. So this is why debugged record. There are some additional tags like a DKIM, a SPF, but those are not mandatory. By the way, one thing, you set these email addresses where your DMARC record should be reported. Therefore, your server should have email addresses like this. Otherwise, whenever a DMARC record report will come to your server, it will be either bounce back or it will be hold into your queue for many days until the queue rejects it. So for that, let me create zmprove sp, not sp, sp means set password, ca dmarc sample server.xyz, and the password, let me give the password this one. So as you can see, the address created successfully. Now let's check, it is still showing that IP address. So now everything should be okay. Now let's try to send a test mail. Message IMSI test2 02 test 02. Let me open the log. Send. And as you can see that admin sample server.xyz is sending mail to IMSI LSA after some other attributes. Finally it says to gmail.com. It is successfully delivered to the relay of gmail.com, and as soon as it is delivered to the relay, the job is done. If we go to the server, either in spam or in any other folder, we should get the mail. Okay, yeah, in the spam. Yeah, we receive the mail as spam. So let's check why we receive the mail as spam. Go to the show original, and it says it passes the DKIM, it passes the SPF, and as we oh, it doesn't passes the SPF. See, another important thing that we forgot. That's why my videos are hands-on video. In this video we will learn as our regular way. I'm not scripting anything, I didn't made anything. We'll just talk and figure out what is the problem. So SPF is none, so we have to set the SPF record. So to set the SPF record, what we have to do is go to the Cloudflare, save. So SPF is another TXT record. We go to the TXT name, again SPF is published, again the domain sample server.xyz, content version SPF1, then A, or you can say MX A, mail.sample server.xyz, and then we can do the closing. The closing can be minus all. This is a strict method, or we can use the tilde. This is relatively non-strict method. That means if any server finds that my server's SPF code doesn't match with the IP address of the receiving email, either it can allow the email or it can discard the email. But if I set it minus, that means if the receiving mail IP address doesn't match with the SPF record of that domain, it is strongly recommended to discard that message. But still, whatever record you set, it is up to the receiving end server whether he would accept or reject the message. So let's publish it here. Okay, let's go to TXT sample server.xyz. Yeah, it shows the SPF record. Okay, so now again let's send a test mail. IMSI test hash SPF test, send. Let's check the log. As you can see, the mail is sent to the Gmail relay. So it is another important part of the troubleshooting, that as soon as you see that your server, whenever your server is sending an email, it reaches the remote end relay, the job of your server is done. Now it's up to that relay server or that end server whether he accepts or rejects or bounce back that mail or not. So let's go there. Let's remove this one and spam. Okay, I'm still getting it in spam. Show original. So it says SPF pass, DKIM pass, DMARC pass. So every record it passes, but it's still adding my IP to the spam folder. Why? This is another legit question, because there might be some issue with the domain or the IP. Let's check it out. Go to the MX toolbox, blacklist, checkup, and give my IP address to that. Okay, IP address. So this is the IP address. Let's give it there. As you can see, my IP address is listed in UC Protect level 3. So that's why it is marked as a spam in Gmail. Let's see the show original if we get anything else or not. Result. This one you can download the header and then analyze it using any online based tool, because there are many online based tools that can help you to understand this kind of complex header in human readable form. So this is it. This is it. This is how you can publish the DNS records. DNS lookup server 8. Yeah, it is still showing the, but that's not an issue, because whenever we are mailing, all our records are passed. DKIM pass, SPF pass, DMARC pass. So this is the thing that I wanted to share it to you with you in today's video. I hope you enjoyed the video. I tried to be more hands-on. I tried to make this video more hands-on approach rather than scripted one. I tried to do things whenever I found any issue or problem. I try to diagnose is in real-time scenario. So this will be your case. Whenever you are working, you find a problem, you diagnose it, you find the solution. So yeah, this is it. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video, and see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye bye. Have a great day.